it's Noah from Fire's Advice. Today I'm with Robert Drysdale, and he's going to be breaking down how to take the back from turtle.
All right, guys, I'm not a big fan of staying close to the head. You're not going to choke him here. I'm not a huge fan of the crucifix either. I'd rather go to the back. There are exceptions for everything in jiu-jitsu, but generally speaking, it's going to go hook, seatbelt, hook. That's the most common order of things. Hook, seatbelt, hook, right? Rarely you're going to get two hooks with no seatbelt or a seatbelt with no hooks. They don't work too well. I'm not a big fan of dragging this guy to the ground with no hooks, unless I'm on my knees. Definitely not putting my butt on the ground with the seatbelt. I feel like I slide off a lot when that happens. It's easier for him to defend. I know it's a common way of attacking. One thing I'm always trying to do is I'm always trying to move his hips, right? I'm always trying to create like movement, right? Because he can only be narrow. If you're very narrow, we're very narrow. I may not be able to get hooks here, but he's very off balance, right? If he broadens his base, broaden your base, now he's got better balance, but he's also created space for the hooks. So I'm trying to exploit both of those extremes. One thing I do is I might have like a belt around his hip. I'm pulling him on an angle, not over his knee, not over his toes, over his leg, right? I'm trying to drop this hip bone right here on the ground. And I'm gonna go seatbelt. Chances are he's gonna fall on that elbow, so I'll be able to get a seatbelt now. Okay? So this is one of those exceptions where I get a seatbelt before the hooks, but notice that my butt is not on the ground. That's the important thing. So when I'm here, all right, I like to take my time here because I got a good position. I don't have to panic. It's very awkward for him to get out of this as long as I don't commit to getting the hooks when the hooks aren't there. Right? Very common thing for him to do here is for him to try to go to his side, to try to go back to where he came from. And I'm like, oh, hold on to it. I'm like I neck crank him here. So if he tries to turn, I keep neck cranking. He's in an awkward position. Sometimes you can even choke him here. Right? One thing I like to do to create room for the hook, just face him, is I'll swing him from side to side. I'll try to create a little space. When I do this right here, I'll commit with the foot all the way through. This is better than a hook. I'll tell you why. Because if I can keep this position here for 3 seconds, this is called a lateral mount. So I'm actually scoring 4 here. Also notice my chest is on his shoulder blade and I'm very tight. Okay? Moving my knee up. Tight. No air bubbles. Tiny, 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 tiny. Belt around his hip. I like to block the knee. I'm blocking his foot with my left knee. I drop him, fall on your elbow, don't fall on your shoulder. Yeah, it's more common. They do that right there, right? Which helps me. I get that seatbelt now, I can sit him up. All right, now when I'm ready, I'm tilting him to the side. I step all the way through. Move my knee up high, tight, 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 tight. And that's how I take the back from turtle position.
This video was brought to you by Gimme Gummies, the tasty, optimal, and most convenient way to take your creatine.